Welcome back, everyone. This week we're diving deep into the crypto world, and things are getting pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Let's set the scene. Imagine you're finally catching up on the news after a crazy week,
Oh, yeah.
and bam, Bitcoin is over $100,000 again.
Wow.
Actually, $101,000 to be exact, at least when these sources were published.
Right.
And it looks like those U.S. election results might have something to do with it.
Definitely. Trump's win seems to be giving the crypto market a boost. There's even buzz about Vivek Ramaswamy. He's a big Bitcoin advocate.
Yeah.
And there's talk he might run for president next.
That's right. And Ramaswamy's not just talking the talk. His company Strive just filed for a Bitcoin Bond ETF.
Interesting.
It's going to focus on companies heavily invested in Bitcoin,
Okay.
like MicroStrategy, for instance. What do you think about this move? Is it a sign that Bitcoin's finally getting mainstream acceptance, or is it just a temporary blip?
I think it's a pretty big deal, actually. It suggests that Bitcoin is being seen as a legitimate asset class by those big institutional investors.
Right.
And remember, ETFs make it easier for regular investors to get exposure to Bitcoin without having to directly buy and hold it themselves.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So this could really open the floodgates for more widespread adoption.
It's like a seal of approval from the traditional finance world. But are there any risks involved with this kind of investment strategy?
Well, every investment has some level of risk.
Mm.
Of course, Bitcoin's famous for its volatility,
For sure.
and this ETF would most likely reflect that. So investors need to think carefully about their own risk tolerance and their investment goals before jumping in.
Good point. It's always wise to be cautious in the crypto world.
Oh.
But let's shift gears for a minute and talk about another development. Bitcoin mining difficulty just hit a new all-time high. Can you explain what that means and why should we care?
Sure. So Bitcoin mining difficulty basically measures how tough it is to mine new Bitcoin blocks. And this difficulty adjusts every 2016 blocks.
Okay.
It's based on the total computing power being used on the network. We call that the hash rate.
So the higher that hash rate, the harder it is to mine Bitcoin.
Exactly. The hash rate just hit a record high, 887.52 hashes per second.
Wow.
That means more miners than ever are competing to solve those complex mathematical problems, to add new blocks to the blockchain.
So is this good or bad? Does it make the network more secure?
Generally speaking, yes. A higher hash rate equals more secure network. It's more resistant to attacks.
I see.
It would take an enormous amount of computing power to manipulate the blockchain
Right.
or to double spend Bitcoin.
Right.
But it also means that mining becomes more expensive and more energy intensive.
Yeah, that makes sense. It highlights the trade-offs involved in keeping a secure and decentralized network. Now let's switch continents and talk about Europe. They're getting ready to implement the MiCA regulations at the end of 2024. What's the latest on that?
Well, we're already seeing companies getting ready for this new regulatory landscape. 4 digital asset firms, MoonPay BitFintech, ZBD, and Hidden Road, they just got MiCA licenses in the Netherlands.
Okay, so what does that actually mean for those companies?
These licenses let them operate in all 27 EU countries,
Oh.
which gives them a big advantage in the European market.
It's interesting because while the U.S. is still wrestling with how to regulate crypto, Europe seems to be taking a more proactive and organized approach.
Yeah. Do you think this could make Europe a more attractive hub for crypto businesses?
It's definitely possible. The clarity and consistency of MiCA could be a draw for companies that are looking for a stable and predictable regulatory environment
Right.
that could lead to more innovation and investment in the European crypto space.
That's really interesting. Now let's talk about something that's been getting a lot of buzz lately. The intersection of artificial intelligence and Bitcoin. Have you heard about Stacknova?
Yes, Stacknova.
It calls itself the AI-powered Bitcoin Launchpad.
It's built on Stack's Layer 2 technology. Essentially, they're trying to boost Bitcoin's capabilities, but without changing Bitcoin's core principles.
So they're not trying to alter Bitcoin itself, but build on top of it.
Right. They're focused on adding things like smart contracts and scalable infrastructure.
They're also promising real-time analytics, predictive models, transparent project evaluations,
Interesting.
all aimed at benefiting both investors and those starting new projects.
It sounds ambitious. But how realistic is all of this? Can AI really revolutionize the Bitcoin ecosystem?
It's still early days,
Yeah,
and there's a lot of hype to cut through. But AI does have the potential to automate processes,
sure.
analyze huge amounts of data, and identify patterns that humans might miss.
It's like having a superpowered assistant
Kinda.
helping you navigate the complexities of Bitcoin.
In a way, yes. But it's crucial to remember AI is just a tool, Like any tool, it can be used for good or bad.
Of course.
So we need to be cautious about overhyping its capabilities and make sure it's used responsibly.
A healthy dose of skepticism is always a good thing in the crypto world. Before we move on, let's talk about Dubai's role in both the AI and crypto spaces.
Dubai has definitely been making strides in both areas. MIT, SMR Middle East, and Astra Labs. They just partnered up to launch an AI adoption white paper for 2025. It's aimed at guiding businesses, technologists, and policymakers on how to leverage AI, especially large and small language models.
They're really trying to position themselves as a global leader in AI.
Yes, and their efforts seem to be resonating. According to the white paper, over half of UAE respondents see their nation as an AI leader,
Wow.
and nearly half of the companies surveyed are already using AI for various things.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
And it's not just AI Dubai-based crypto mining companies are making waves too.
that's true. Phoenix Group, for example, is expanding into the U.S. They have a new facility in North Dakota,
Okay.
adding a significant amount of mining power to their portfolio.
Wait, from Dubai to North Dakota, that's quite a jump.
It is,
What's
but it shows their ambition and their belief in the future of Bitcoin mining, particularly in the U.S. They already have a facility in South Carolina,
right?
and they're planning a NASDAQ Q listing in 2025.
It seems like they're going all in on the US market.
Yeah.
Do you think this move has anything to do with the recent political changes and the potential for a more crypto-friendly environment?
It's definitely a factor worth considering Trump's reelection. Plus, the possibility of figures like Ramaswamy gaining political clout
Yeah.
could create a more favorable environment for crypto businesses in the U.S.
It's amazing how all these things are connecting. The price of Bitcoin, the progress in mining, the changing regulations, the rise of AI, even global politics, it's all intertwined.
Absolutely. And that's what makes the crypto world so dynamic and fascinating to follow.
It's really incredible how connected everything's becoming Bitcoin's price. Those mining advancements, MiCA over in Europe, AI being integrated into the space, even Dubai's ambitions, it all ties together.
It really does create a fascinating picture. And speaking of connections, let's go back to Strive's Bitcoin Bond ETF for a sec, focusing on companies like MicroStrategy that are all in on Bitcoin. That's a pretty big shift in strategy, don't you think?
It seems like these companies are going beyond just buying and holding Bitcoin now. It's like they're making it a core part of their long-term plans. And now regular investors can get in on that approach thanks to this ETF.
Exactly. It opens up a whole investment strategy that was previously only available to institutional investors or high net worth individuals. Plus, it further legitimizes Bitcoin as a core component of a diversified portfolio.
It does feel like we're watching Bitcoin go from this fringe asset to the mainstream right in front of our eyes. And with people like Trump and maybe even Ramaswamy, both big Bitcoin supporters in the political arena, it creates a really interesting landscape.
It does. This kind of political alignment, combined with growing institutional interest in all those technological advancements we talked about, could create a powerful synergy that really pushes Bitcoin's adoption and influence forward.
Now, we can't forget about mining and that hash rate hitting a new all-time high. But for the average person, what does that actually mean? Does it affect them directly?
Indirectly, it does. A higher hash rate means a more secure Bitcoin network, which is good for everyone who uses or holds Bitcoin. It makes it way harder for any bad actors to disrupt the network or tamper with transactions.
So it's like a stronger security blanket for the whole Bitcoin ecosystem.
I like that analogy. And that security is essential as Bitcoin becomes more widely adopted and handles even larger volumes of transactions.
Speaking of wider adoption, let's go back to Europe for a minute and those MiCA licenses they're handing out. Do you really think this could cause a power shift in the crypto world away from the US?
It's definitely a possibility. The EU seems to be taking a much more open and transparent approach to regulating crypto, which could attract businesses and investment away from places that aren't so welcoming. The US, on the other hand, has been slower to act and less clear about its regulations.
So while the US is still figuring things out, Europe's rolling out the red carpet. That could be a game changer.
It really could. It'll be interesting to see how this difference in regulatory approaches plays out. Will the U.S. adapt and compete, or will it fall behind in this global crypto race?
It feels like we're watching this high-stakes financial thriller unfold, and we've got front row seats.
The best seats in the house. Now let's shift gears and talk about another fascinating development, the fusion of AI and Bitcoin, like we see with projects like Stacknova.
I've been hearing about Stacknova and its AI-powered platform. AI-powered Launchpad's real-time analytics predictive models. It all sounds pretty high-tech, maybe even a bit intimidating.
I get what you mean. But at its core, AI is really about using computers to analyze data and make decisions. In the world of Bitcoin, that could look like helping investors find promising projects, manage their risks, or even optimize their trading strategies.
So it's not about AI replacing human intelligence. It's about enhancing it, giving us tools and insights we wouldn't have on our own.
Precisely. And just like AI is transforming other industries, it has the potential to revolutionize how we interact with Bitcoin and the whole crypto ecosystem, really.
It's like AI is giving us superpowers in the crypto world.
In a sense, yes.
Yeah.
But we have to remember, with great power comes great responsibility. We need to be careful not to overhype what AI can do and use it ethically.
That's a great point. A little skepticism is always a good thing in the crypto world. Speaking of global players making moves, let's talk about Dubai and its big ambitions in both the AI and crypto space.
Dubai is definitely making a splash in both those areas. The partnership between MIT, SMR Middle East, and Astra Labs is a clear sign of that. Their focus on AI adoption is pretty remarkable.
And they're not just talking, they're putting their money where their mouth is, investing heavily in building the infrastructure, research, and development they need to make their vision a reality.
Their white paper lays out a pretty clear roadmap for businesses and policymakers, outlining the potential benefits and the challenges of integrating AI into different sectors.
It's like they're saying to the world, hey, we're ready to build the future of AI together, and we're taking the lead.
Exactly. And Dubai isn't just focused on AI. Remember Phoenix Group, the crypto mining company that's expanding its operations in the U.S.?
Yeah, those guys. A new facility in North Dakota, an existing one in South Carolina, and they're aiming for a NASDAQ Q listing. They're going all in.
They are. And that aggressive expansion strategy suggests they really believe in the future of Bitcoin mining, especially in the U.S.
With Trump back in office and maybe even Ramaswamy gaining more influence, it seems like a good time to be betting on crypto in the U.S.
The current political climate definitely works in their favor.
It really is fascinating how everything seems to be lining up. The price of Bitcoin, the advancements in mining, those changes in regulations, the rise of AI, even global politics, it's all connected.
Absolutely. And that intricate web of connections is what makes the crypto world so dynamic and captivating. It's constantly changing and evolving, challenging our assumptions and pushing the boundaries of what we thought possible. But before we dive too deep into that,
It's amazing. We've covered so much ground in this deep dive, from mining operations to global politics to the future of AI.
it's been quite the journey, from those record-breaking hash rates to Dubai's grand vision for an AI-powered future.
Yeah, and it all started with that Bitcoin price surge, breaking past $100,000 once again. It's a constant reminder that the crypto world never stands still. There's always something new happening.
You're right. And as we discussed, this recent surge isn't just a coincidence. It's a combination of different factors coming together. Trump's return to the White House, the potential rise of Bitcoin advocates like Ramaswamy, and a surge in interest from those big institutional investors with things like Strive's Bitcoin Bond ETF.
It really does feel like there's a lot of momentum building around Bitcoin right now. A lot of people seem to be feeling pretty bullish about its prospects.
And that positive sentiment is spreading to other parts of the crypto world too. We see it in the energy surrounding mining, the development of those cutting-edge technologies like AI-powered platforms, and the overall confidence in the market.
And speaking of AI, it's pretty amazing to see how companies like Stacknova are using this technology to help both investors and those launching new projects.
They're really trying to bridge the gap between how complex the crypto world can be and the need for easy-to-use tools that can help people navigate it. All those training wheels for the crypto revolution.
Yeah, exactly. It makes it much more approachable for those who might be hesitant to jump in.
And as AI technology gets even better, those tools are only going to become more intuitive and sophisticated, offering deeper insights and more personalized guidance.
It's almost like having your own personal AI crypto advisor.
That's an interesting thought. It raises some important questions about what role AI might play in shaping the future of finance as a whole.
Yeah, it really does make you think. But in all of this talk about technology, let's not forget about the human element. Ultimately, it's people who are driving this innovation, making the decisions and shaping the future of this space.
I completely agree. Technology is a powerful tool. But it's the human spirit, the drive to create, to explore, to push boundaries. That's the real driving force behind progress.
Very well said. As we wrap up this deep dive, I'm feeling a mix of excitement and awe about what the future holds.
I feel it too. The crypto world is constantly evolving, throwing us curveballs and challenging our assumptions. It's an amazing thing to be a part of this journey and to witness this transformation in real time.
And to share these insights with you, our listeners. We hope this deep dive has given you some valuable knowledge, piqued your curiosity, and maybe even inspired you to explore this world further on your own.
Absolutely. Remember this. The crypto space is full of opportunities, but it's important to approach it carefully and with a healthy dose of skepticism.
Always do your research, stay informed, and don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yes.
Who knows? Maybe you'll be the one leading the next wave of innovation.
So as we sign off for today, we leave you with this thought. Could the convergence of AI Bitcoin and the growing support of political figures like Trump and potentially Ramaswamy lead to an unprecedented period of growth and innovation in the crypto space? We encourage you to explore these ideas further and form your own conclusions. Until next time, happy exploring.